Hey there, in this explainer, we're going to talk about a strange little problem that affects so many of us, especially people who are really good at what they do. It's this paradox where our greatest strength, our ability to get things done, can actually become a trap. We're going to explore the art of mastering being present.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. If you had to pick one, are you more of a Martha, always making things happen? Or are you a Mary, the one who's just kind of there, taking it all in? It's more than just a personality quiz. This question really gets to the heart of how we live our lives, and it all comes from this ancient story, with a lesson that feels like it was written for us today.
To really get our heads around this, we're going to jump into a story from way back, from the Gospel of Luke. It's about a time Jesus visited two sisters, and believe me, it's like a perfect case study for our modern-day struggle with feeling like we always have to be doing something.
Okay, so picture this. We're in a little village called Bethany. A woman named Martha opens up her home to Jesus and his crew. I mean, what a host, right? She immediately gets to work, taking on all the responsibility of making sure her very important guests are taken care of.
And right away, you see this huge difference between the two sisters. Martha is all action, right? She's juggling a million tasks, and you can just feel the anxiety building. But her sister, Mary, she's doing something completely different. Her action is just sitting still. Her focus is on one single thing, and her state, totally calm. At first glance, it looks like a simple story, the doer versus the dreamer. But before we decide Martha is the villain of the story, let's pause for a second. We have to look a little deeper, because if we just see it as good versus bad, we're going to miss the whole point. There's a lot more going on here. The word they use in the original Greek to describe Martha's work is really important. It isn't just chores or housework. The word is diakonia. It means service or ministry. In fact, it's where we get the word deacon. So, Martha isn't just being a busybody. She's performing this incredibly important ministry of hospitality. In her culture, that was a huge deal. And get this, Jesus himself talked about his own life's purpose in terms of diakonia, of service. So Martha's instinct to serve her guest, it's absolutely honorable. It's actually a beautiful act of love and discipleship. It is not a character flaw. And this is where it gets really interesting. If what Martha was doing was a good thing, a form of ministry, why in the world did Jesus say that what her sister Mary chose was better? The answer isn't about ditching service. It's about understanding what that service should be built on. Just like there was a deeper meaning to Martha's work, there's a deeper meaning to what Mary was doing too. That phrase, sitting at the feet, that wasn't just a casual way to hang out. It was basically a technical term. It meant you were a disciple, a student, learning from your rabbi, your master teacher. And for a woman to do that back then, that was radical. It just wasn't done. So you see, Mary wasn't being lazy or passive. Her choice was this powerful, intentional act of being completely present. You could almost call it a form of mindfulness. That awareness you get from paying attention on purpose, right here, right now. She got it. The teacher was in her house, and she knew everything else could wait. So everything boils over when Martha, totally stressed out and frustrated, goes to Jesus and complains. And his response is the real turning point of this whole story. And it's not a scolding. It's this incredibly gentle, loving course correction. Just listen to how he says her name twice. Martha, Martha. It's so tender. He sees her, he gets that she's worried about all these many things. But then he gently points her back to the one thing needed. Mary chose that one thing. Just being present with him. And that choice, he says, that's something that will last. And this is the absolute key right here. The problem was never the work. It was the worry that came with the work. Her busyness turned into a distraction that was actually pulling her away from the person she was trying so hard to serve. She got so caught up in the tasks for her guest that she missed the chance to just be with her guest. And doesn't that just nail a huge challenge for us today? Especially for those of us who are good at our jobs, who are productive, who know how to get things done. It points to something we could call the mastery paradox. So, the mastery paradox is this trap we can fall into when we get so good at our tasks, our own kinds of diakonia, that doing becomes the only way we know how to operate. Our own competence kind of builds a cage around us, trapping us in this cycle of activity that keeps us from ever just pausing, listening, and being present. We let the urgent stuff constantly push out what's actually essential. So, look, the point of this story isn't to make us choose. It's not about being a Martha or a Mary. It's showing us that we need both. These are two essential ways of being that are meant to work together.
We absolutely need Martha's active service and care in the world, and we desperately need Mary's quiet contemplation and listening.
And this is why it matters so, so much. Because when we're all Martha, all the time, our service just leads to anxiety and burnout. But if we're all Mary all the time, our deep thoughts can become empty and disconnected from the real world. The real goal is to bring them both together. Okay, so what does this actually look like in our own crazy, busy lives? How do we find that balance? How do we start choosing that better part more often? Well, here are 3 practical ideas. First, prioritize the pause. Actually schedule it. Just like a meeting, block out 10 minutes to just sit and think or read before you dive into all your tasks. Second, serve from fullness. Try to let your actions flow out of that time of presence instead of being a replacement for it. And third, use your worry as a smoke alarm. When you feel that frantic, anxious Martha energy building up, let that be your signal to stop, breathe, and find that one thing again. Because when you boil it all down, this is the big idea. Choosing the better part doesn't mean you stop doing things and go live in a cave. It means you finally understand that real, joyful, sustainable action is fueled by presence. Presence is the foundation. It's what turns all that worried work into something truly meaningful. So, I'll leave you with this little piece of wisdom. It doesn't matter if it comes from an ancient scripture or from a wise old grandpa. The message is timeless. Slow down. Pay attention. Because it's in those quiet moments of just being present that we find the clarity we need to act with real purpose.